Roles of a coach. One of the roles of a coach is to be a friend. A friend should look out for you, keep you grounded and help you. They can also make you want to participate in sport and do well, and if something goes badly, they should be there to support you and help you go again and share both the hard times and the good times in sport with you. There'll also be a trust between you because you are friends and know that you both have each other's backs. This role may not be as effective because it can be hard for the coach to be really harsh and critical on you, and therefore they might not tell you if you're performing really badly or stepping out of line. They could also be biased and see past your poor performances to try and spin it to make you look good because they're your friend. For example, if in a Sunday League football team, if the coach is your friend and you're playing worse than the rest of the team or people on the bench, they might not drop you, which will cause you to become even more complacent and the standard of the team to drop, and people get annoyed at you and the coach, leaving you isolated. However, this role can be effective when the friend is a mentor, such as a tennis player's coach. This is because they will know them very well, and therefore they will be able to set up training camps and coach you to get the best out of you. They will also be able to give you the best feedback that suits the way you want to learn and train. The tennis player is also more likely to respect the friend's opinion as the mentor listen to him and take on board what he's saying than someone that they don't really know. This might not be as effective as a trainer of a large team like a rugby team, because it could be embarrassing to tell a friend what to do and manage them because they're your best friend. Also, the friend might be mocked and called stuff like a teacher's pet, which causes them to lose their confidence and become isolated from the team. The team would lose morale and not be resilient in games, which is important in rugby. This could also work for a small team like a swimming team, because they're all very close and there aren't many people in a swimming group, and therefore they all want to win as much as each other, and they can work closely on new ideas and strategies and discuss them with each other and try to improve them. They will also know your personality and will know the perfect way to get your confidence up and talk to you. This role could also be helpful for a skiing instructor, because if they are friends with the person, then the skier will feel comfortable with them, which is important because it's quite a dangerous sport and the coach will often have to hold them and stop them falling over. The coach will also have to reassure the skier a lot to make them more confident and feel like they know what they're doing. It's important that they will have good and bad experiences with the skier so they don't mind falling over in front of the coach and can enjoy it when they get it right. However, this could be a risk in gymnastics for a male coach being a friend of young female athletes because of legality issues, because in gymnastics there's lots of holding and they'll have to help them a lot, so it could become a bit of an awkward situation with the legality issues over child protection. Role model. A role model is someone whose actions can be watched and emulated by other people, particularly young people. A coach should be a role model so that his players can act in the right way and copy him so that they act in the manner that he wants them to act. In youth football, this can be ineffective if the coach is constantly shouting and moaning at the referee and the players, which will cause the players to also do this, which is not the way they should act and not in the etiquette of the game. The players might be booked for dissent and problems will be created with the squad, with players arguing and some players lacking confidence and not trying anything in games because they are so nervous that they will be shouted at by other players than the coach. It will be more important that a coach is a better role model in a youth team rather than an adult team, because adults are more likely to be set in their way and they won't change, whereas kids will still be learning and they will be easily influenced by role models like coaches. However, on the flip side of this, for a cricket player, if the coach is a good role model and acts in the right way to the umpires and within the etiquette of the game, then the players will match this and also perform and act in the right etiquette for the game. Cricket is quite a technical game, and therefore the coach can show them little tricks and skills that will help them, and if they have his trust, then they will copy them. Also in cricket, the captain and coach are normally very close and make lots of decisions about the team, like the batting lineup and the bowling order, and therefore the coach can use the captain to implement how he wants his team to act so that the other players follow that. However, this could be not as effective for a coach of a hockey team if the coach doesn't wear the right protective equipment like shin pads and gum shield, and is lazy in training and doesn't use proper equipment like cones and the right hockey sticks. This will cause the players in the hockey team to be relaxed about safety and using the right equipment, because this is how their coach acts towards health and safety. In quite a dangerous game like hockey, this could lead to there being many injuries. This will be especially important for a coach if there are players in the team who have different needs, and if some of the players have disabilities that need to be catered for. This can be more effective for a boxing coach, because the coach can show the boxer how much dedication is needed to make it as a boxer and win fights. If the coach shows up early for every training and sets up and plans sessions for when the boxer turns up, then it will spur on the boxer to put more effort in and do well. Also, boxing is a typically male-dominated sport, and therefore if the coach is a woman coaching high up in the game and being a role model, it will really help more women more female fighters to do well and be more dedicated and not lose interest because men are looking down at her or if she feels out of place. If a woman is a coach of a high quality male boxer, then many more women will be inspired and believe they can do well in the boxing game. It can also be effective for a male coach teaching year 7 boys dance, because if he is enthusiastic and teaches them properly, they will want to take part as well and give it their best shot. But on the flip side of this, it could also be less effective, because if the coach is dismissive of teaching dance and doesn't really want to teach them it and shows a bad attitude because it's a typically female sport, then the boys will also show this attitude and not want to take part because they'll feel embarrassed that they think they're doing a so-called female sport. An innovator. An innovator is someone who brings in new ideas, methods, training, or new stuff. A coach who innovates can help the players to learn new ways of approaching and playing their sport, which will help them to get better. This would be effective for a football coach because they can bring in new technology like performance tracking and look at the players' statistics, which means that the manager can manage the players' performance and see who's working hardest and see what areas players need to work on in training. But this would only be useful in high-level football and not grassroots football, because they wouldn't have the technology to do this. It can also be very effective in the NFL because coaches can come up with new plays and routines which allow them to outplay the opponent and score touchdowns. NFL is a very tactical game about reading other teams' plays and blocking them. So if the coach is innovative, then he'll be able to think of new ways to outthink the opponent. However, this could be ineffective and inappropriate for grassroots cricket, because they won't be able to be too innovative, especially for kids, as they need to keep the game simple and teach them the basics of the game, rather than trying to teach them really complicated things like swing bowling and spin bowling. They'll just be teaching them the basics of batting and bowling and fielding. This would also be ineffective for grassroots rugby, because there isn't much money in grassroots rugby. and therefore they won't be able to afford the equipment and the new technology to be able to come up with innovative stuff. Whereas elite rugby clubs have much more money, and therefore they can have lots of high quality equipment like performance analysis. It's hard enough getting an unwaterlogged pitch for a rugby game on a weekend, let alone technology. Trainer. A trainer is a specialist person who can improve players' abilities and make them play better in certain sports. They have physical, technical and tactical demands of a sport like golf or tennis, and they can coach this. They will be specialised in that sport and be an expert in it, and then they have a lot of ideas that will help them improve players. They bring in new ideas, methods, training or products. A trainer would be important to make sure a player's game improves rather than just helping them get into a team. They're working them specifically on specific areas of their game. This would be effective for a golf trainer because it is a very technical game, and therefore they can work specifically with the players to improve parts of their game that the trainer would know a lot about. The trainer would be able to plan training for the golfer so that they can work on specific things like their putting, and the trainer can help the player improve aspects of their golf they think they need work on. Furthermore, the trainer would need to make sure the golfer has good flexibility and that he's working on his strength so that they can hit the ball further. The trainer could also work on the golfer's tactical skills, like where to hit the ball in certain situations to gain an advantage, and technical skills about how to hit the ball properly so that you can get it where you want it to go and closer to the hole. However, this might not be as appropriate for volunteer coaches, unlike a paid coach, because for a Sunday League football team they are most likely to be a low level coach, like a level 1 coach, and therefore they won't be very specialist and can't work properly with specific players to improve their game. They also wouldn't have a lot of time with the players because they will probably only train for an hour a week, and they will have to do quite general training. Therefore he might only be able to work on technical stuff such as passing, and the team might just decide tactical stuff on the day, and they might be quite unfit. It would be easier for a paid coach to sort a players to work as a trainer because they will be paid to do it, and therefore they'll have a lot more time, and therefore they will be able to set up sessions previous, and they might work with a smaller group of players in like an academy. It would also help running coaches like Mo Farah's coach because he would be able to work on one-to-one with the athlete, and he would be able to work on the fitness in sessions by making him go on long runs. He could work on his technical and tactical running by re-watching his races from before on TV and working out what he could do better, and working on maybe his running technique and how to run to the best of his ability and use all his energy. And the coach could also work on where Mo Farah should position himself during the race and when he should make a sprint to the front, dependent on who his opponents are. However, this could be problematic in a large basketball team, as some of the players might feel left out if the coach is just working with a few of the players more, and specifically the higher ability players. Therefore, he might just get the rest of the players to work on simple drills and fitness drills on the side as he's working on technical stuff with a few of the better players. Therefore, the players on the other side might become bored and only work on one side of their game, like the fitness aspect, and not on the technical or tactical aspects of the game, whereas the higher ability players will work on all 3 aspects of the game.